Bali is a province in Indonesia and a popular tourist destination known for its stunning beaches, lush green rice terraces, and unique Hindu culture. The capital of Bali is Denpasar, and the island is located between Java and Lombok in the Indonesian archipelago. Bali is home to a diverse range of attractions, including ancient temples such as Tanah Lot and Uluwatu, picturesque rice terraces in Ubud, stunning beaches such as Kuta and Seminyak, and natural landmarks such as Mount Batur and the Gitjit waterfall. The island's culture is heavily influenced by Hinduism, and visitors can experience traditional dances, ceremonies, and festivals such as the Nyepi Day of Silence and the Galungan Festival. Bali is also known for its cuisine, which includes dishes such as nasi goreng, fried rice, satay, skewered meat, and babi guling, roast suckling pig. Overall, Bali is a must-visit destination for anyone looking to experience the beauty and unique culture of Indonesia. The history of Indonesia dates back to prehistoric times when early humans inhabited the islands of Indonesia. The archipelago was part of the Indianized empires of the Srivijaya and Majapahit, which dominated Southeast Asia from the 8th to the 14th centuries. In the 16th century, the Dutch began colonizing Indonesia and established the Dutch East India Company. Indonesia was a major producer of spices, which were highly valued by the Europeans, and the Dutch East India Company became a dominant force in the region. During World War II, Indonesia was occupied by Japan, but after the war, Indonesia declared independence in 1945. The country experienced a period of political instability and violence, including a communist insurgency and a military coup in 1965. In 1998, Indonesia underwent a period of political and economic reform after the fall of President Suharto, who had been in power for over 30 years. The country has since transitioned to a democratic government and has made significant progress in economic development. Today, Indonesia is the world's fourth most populous country and is known for its rich cultural heritage, stunning natural beauty, and diverse cuisine. Indonesia has a rich and complex history that spans thousands of years. Here is a brief overview of the country's history. Early history. The first known human settlement in Indonesia dates back to around 40,000 BCE. The Austronesian people arrived in the archipelago around 2500 BCE, and by 2000 BCE, they had established powerful kingdoms in Sumatra and Java. Kingdoms and empires. From the 7th to the 14th century, Indonesia was dominated by Hindu-Buddhist kingdoms such as the Salendra and Srivijaya empires. In the 13th century, the Majapahit Empire rose to power and established a period of cultural and economic prosperity. Colonial period. In the 16th century, European powers began to colonize Indonesia. The Dutch East India Company established control over much of the archipelago, and the Dutch colonial period lasted for more than 300 years. During this time, Indonesia's resources were exploited for the benefit of the Dutch economy, and the country's traditional cultures and religions were suppressed. Independence. Following World War II, Indonesia declared its independence from the Netherlands in 1945. A period of political instability and conflict followed, which eventually led to the rise of President Sukarno and the establishment of a socialist government in 1957. In 1965, a military coup led to the rise of General Suharto, who ruled Indonesia until 1998. Modern era. Since the fall of Suharto, Indonesia has made significant progress in political and economic reform. The country has become a leading member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN, and a major player in the global economy. Today, Indonesia is a diverse and dynamic country with a rich cultural heritage and a promising future. Indonesia has a rich and diverse history that dates back to prehistoric times. The earliest known human habitation on the island of Java dates back to at least 1.5 million years ago. The Indonesian archipelago has been an important center of trade and commerce for centuries, with spices such as nutmeg and cloves being highly sought after by traders from Europe and Asia. The first recorded kingdoms in Indonesia were the Tarumanagara and the Salakanagara, which emerged on the island of Java around the 4th century AD. The Srivijaya Empire, which was based in Sumatra, became the dominant power in the region from the 7th to the 13th century. The arrival of Islam in Indonesia in the 13th century had a profound impact on the region's culture and society. The Islamic sultanates that emerged in the 14th century, such as the Sultanate of Malacca, became important centers of trade and Islamic scholarship. The Dutch East India Company began colonizing Indonesia in the 17th century, and the Dutch colonial period lasted until Indonesia declared independence in 1945. The Japanese occupation during World War II also had a significant impact on Indonesia's history. After gaining independence, Indonesia went through a period of political instability and conflict, including a period of military rule under General Suharto. In 1998, Suharto was forced to resign, and Indonesia transitioned to a democratic government. Today, Indonesia is a diverse and vibrant nation with a rich cultural heritage and a rapidly growing economy. The country's history continues to shape its present and future, and Indonesia remains an important player in the global community. The history of Indonesia can be traced back to the prehistoric era, with evidence of human habitation in the region dating back to at least 1.5 million years ago. The earliest recorded kingdoms in the Indonesian archipelago were the Srivijaya and Majapahit empires, which ruled from the 7th to the 15th century. In the 16th century, Indonesia came under the influence of European powers, with the Portuguese establishing a presence in Maluku and the Dutch taking control of Java and other areas. The Dutch East Indies, as the colonial territory was known, became a major producer of commodities such as spices, tea, and coffee. During World War II, Indonesia was occupied by the Japanese, who ruled the country from 1942 to 1945. Following the Japanese surrender, Indonesia declared its independence on August 17, 1945, and began a struggle for sovereignty against the Dutch, who sought to maintain control. After several years of conflict, Indonesia won its independence in 1949, with the Dutch formally recognizing Indonesian sovereignty. The first president of Indonesia was Sukarno, who led the country from 1945 to 1967. During his tenure, Indonesia adopted a policy of non-alignment and sought to play a leading role in the decolonization of Africa and Asia. In 1965, a coup attempt led to Sukarno's ouster and the rise of General Suharto, who ruled Indonesia for the next 3 decades. Suharto oversaw rapid economic growth but also faced criticism for his authoritarian rule and human rights abuses. In 1998, amid widespread protests and economic turmoil, Suharto resigned from office, and Indonesia began a period of democratic reform. Since then, Indonesia has become one of the world's largest democracies, with a vibrant civil society and a rapidly growing economy. Today, Indonesia is a diverse and dynamic nation with a rich cultural heritage and a bright future.
I-click ang notification bell, like, share and subscribe. Salamat sa panonood.